Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. So again, Ukraine took more ground of the Russian territory. Well, actually the situation developed so fast that it's hard to track it. The events are similar to what was happening in summer and autumn of 2022. Then Ukraine was really successful in Kharkiv Oblast, for example. There the situation was changing in a matter of hours. So this is one of the latest updates we have. Probably while I am filming this video, the picture is different already. Different because Ukraine already broke through two of the Russian main defense lines in this area. Basically, there are no lines to hold Ukrainian army any longer. It is free to go almost elsewhere in the region, and the main success of Ukrainian army depends not on the Russian resistance mainly, but on Ukrainian supplies. Whether there will be enough secured supply lines for Ukraine to advance further and further. Because after all, Russia might send some of the reserves and they might try to cut those supply lines, as for example happened in Kiev Oblast. Then Russia moved very fast towards Kiev with almost no supplies, so Ukraine hit the very vulnerable spot of the Russian army. That's why actually Russia was forced to retreat from the region. But from what I see, Ukraine will not make the similar mistakes, and Ukrainian army started to dig down very close to the border, so this blue area is already fully out of the Russian army. And reportedly, yes, by the Russian surveillance, Ukraine is already digging down to secure the ground for a very long time. Alright, and we have the update from the deep state military map. Finally, they were silent for a couple of days, but now it's time to review it. We're gonna do it after the short break.
Guys, remember our sponsor on Father's Day? Yes, it was Extra Wallets. I received a card holder from them. It is fantastic quality and I really enjoy it. But they came out with a new card holder. It's called Card Holder Pro. And I have it just over here. What I can say, it's much better. And the main thing I like about this one is that it has more capacity for any sort of the cards. But at the same time, somehow it's a little thinner compared to the previous model. I like that the extraction button is now made out of metal, as well as the extraction trigger. So the quality of the new materials is just bulletproof. It's made out of the recyclable alloy. Because of those materials and the quality build, you have the lifetime warranty on those wallets. You may also upgrade the Card Holder Pro with different features. For example, I mostly use my Finder card, so I basically insert it over there and I'll never lose my wallet any longer. To find my wallet, I basically go to application and press a single button. That's it. You not just receive the sound signal, but you're able now to track your wallet using Locator application. But let's say I want to carry some cash and I don't want to put it in my pocket. Well, for that I have the cash clip backplate. So I just put my cash out there and it's already here with me in this card holder. Also, if I want to carry some of the coins, for example, to take the card in the supermarket or to wash my car, I have this coin trail. So basically I put there my coins and here we go. We have the wallet with the coins now. As usual, we have the anti-thief protection, so no one will scan your cards. Then they are in this wallet. Awesome technology, I really like it. I don't have to worry about my cards in a public place or in the public transport. So guys, I really enjoy this sleek design of the new wallet and I recommend you, if you have the extra wallet, to upgrade for it, or if you don't have, well, this is absolutely must have. I use it daily in my daily life and it's absolute truth, my friends. I'll use this new model. It's fantastic. So please guys, check out my personal link in the video description just below and use the promo code Davydov to unlock special perks. Extra thanks a lot for sponsoring this video and for your fantastic products. I'm really proud to have you as the sponsor on my channel. Awesome! The Card Holder Pro is available not just in this greenish color, but you may visit websites to have different options of the colors.
So guys, back to the Frontline coverage. Here the deep state released the update actually from yesterday, I think mostly. Because definitely Ukraine has expanded the gray area even further than Sudzha. Sudzha is partially under Ukrainian control, it's been confirmed, and this settlement has already been encircled by Ukraine. It was also reported by the Russian soldiers themselves. Ukrainian army is in the nearby village and also moving next further. Guys, while I'm filming this video, I have the report about the huge kaboom, absolutely huge kaboom in Lipetsk airfield of Russia. So we have lots of the news coming, please stand by. Firstly, we're gonna review the situation on the ground. And here's more or less the real picture of what is happening on the ground, judging on the Russian publics. Yes, they shared this data that Ukraine now has 3 of the attack vectors, and one of the attack vectors goes directly to Kurchatov nuclear power plant. It could be one of the main goals of this operation, but after all, I don't think that Ukraine is really capable to achieve that huge result. I mean, taking under control the Russian nuclear power plant, because it's definitely far away from the Ukrainian border, around 55 miles. Again, it all comes to the supplies. Those will be very long, and for them to be robust, more or less, you should have lots of the forces deployed, and you need to take all of the surrounding areas. All of those settlements, towns, villages. Maybe Ukraine is doing it right now, judging on those attack vectors. So the Ukrainian armed forces were spotted not far away from Borshin village, which is just 30 kilometers away from the nuclear power plant. Yesterday, I know that Russia hesitated to send reinforcements to Kurchatov nuclear power plant, but now it seems like they are sending those. Here, Ukrainian army was spotted past the Kromsky-Byky village and on the way to Lugov town. And as reported, the heavy fight is ongoing for the Kornevo town. It's the main settlement on the way to Rilsk, and Rilsk is the main Russian hub to gather the forces. Ukraine understood that and harnessed the big Russian convoy. So this is Rilsk, the Russian convoy. A couple of hours ago, I received this video from the Russian publics again. Well, during the daytime, Russia filmed some sort of the convoy themselves, so you can see some of the tracks, artillery systems, but mainly small vehicles and lots of the Bukhanka supply vans. No tanks were spotted, probably all of those are now in Ukraine. It doesn't help Russia too much to withstand against Ukrainian attacks in the Kursk region. Well, what they managed to send are the old T-62 tanks, I can see, judging on the armor, and probably those towing trucks with those tanks have already been computed by the Russian helicopters. As I showed you yesterday, yes, indeed it happened. We know about the Ukrainian army movement judging from the photos leaked to the internet. For example, this one, Novoivanivka village, which is located 20 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border. But also there are reports from local citizens who leave their homes, and they usually say what settlements Ukraine took under control. Plus, sometimes Russia is able to hit Ukrainian vehicles. They do it now only with the Lancet drones. It's the most effective drone of the Russian army. It was reported that Ukraine lost at least 2 of the tanks and 5 of the BMPs or armored vehicles. But it's their only effective tool which they now have. The Russian regular army is really struggling now in the Kursk region. They're disorganized and able to resist in just occasional cases. So this map and the deep state are already outdated. And maybe this one too already. Ukraine mostly moves during the night time. What is interesting that this area was mined by Ukrainian army remotely using the special shells. From this we may understand that Ukraine is not willing to take this road to go to the southeast. The target is on the north, and on the north there is the Kurchatov nuclear power plant. But judging on the pace of the Ukrainian army advancement, I think that after all Ukrainian army will hold on in a couple of days. Because after all, the resources for Ukrainian army are quite limited. Let's go for the Google Maps. So now it's something like here over here, and 3 of the attack vectors, 1 to Kornevo, 1 to Lugov, and 1 towards Lubimovka over here. Kurchatov nuclear power plant, Lugov, Rilsk, where the Russian convoy was ambushed. So the best case scenario for Ukraine would be to reach this highway and take all of this part of the land between the Ukrainian border and this highway. But just imagine the number of the forces you need not to take it under control. I believe that Ukraine is able to do it, but the number of forces and resources to keep the territory and to provide supplies. And you need to do it for quite a long time if you want to trade this territory for some of the occupied Ukrainian territories, or trade the Kurchatov nuclear power plant for Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. Well, I guess that after all, our allies will be against the real fight in Kurchatov power plant or somewhere near it, because again it might escalate. But after all, this variant is also possible. I would say that Ukraine definitely chose the right spot to strike, because the area here is mostly flat, there are no big rivers, just this one is this area near Kornevo. Also, Russia deployed their conscripts only to the place plus TikTok army, which already ran away, and it was confirmed by many of the local citizens. And this area is actually good for defense because if Ukraine moves further over here, taking nuclear power plant under control, just look at this heavy terrain after the nuclear power plant. Yes, there are lots of the valleys, hills, rivers, so for Russia it will be very hard to strike from the north, almost impossible. So by controlling the roads you may keep the territory under control for a very long time. The minus here that Russia still may use their aviation, and the deeper Ukraine goes into the Russian territory, the more effective Russian aviation could be. But after all, I don't think that they're gonna bomb Kurchatov nuclear power plant. By the way, it's kind of the big one, the third largest in the Russian Federation, but still Kurchatov is less powerful compared to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is actually the biggest one in Europe and produces 2 times more energy compared to this one. If you look at one of the reactor buildings of Kurchatov nuclear power plant, it might look familiar. Yes, because it's the same type of the project as in Chernobyl. Absolutely no difference, but in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the reactor is more modern. The good thing that Ukrainian specialists are very familiar with those kind of the reactors if Ukraine somehow takes the station under control. I mean, for Ukrainian specialists, it would be easy to maintain the station working or maybe just shut it down from the Russian electrical system. In that case, the vast part of the regions of Russia will go to darkness. Yes, and this is the Russian military airfield. Such a nice celebration they have, such a beautiful firework. Awesome. Judging on this huge firework, the ammunition depot of the airfield was hit. So where did it happen? This is the Ukrainian border. If we go to Lipetsk, you may find this military airfield. It is quite big, it has 2 of the runways, and it is the base for the Russian fighter jets and bombers, plus some of the helicopters and transport aviation you may see. Well, I think that this runway is out of use because Russia stores lots of the airplanes plus helicopters in this runway, right on it. You know guys, I tried to find the big ammunition depot of the airfield and probably I found it. It's over here. Those boxes are probably with the shells, and with the help of those trucks, those being delivered to the airplanes. So one more kaboom of the Russian military airfield, it means that Russia will struggle using their aviation also in the Kursk Oblast. Also, it was kind of loud in Sevastopol. Ukraine used the drone boats. The local occupation administration has reported that they've hit all of the drones, but we'll see it a little later if it's definitely true. As usual in Belgrade and Rostov Oblast, it was also kind of loud with many of the kabooms. So just for the last night, the Lipetsk airfield was targeted. The Russian convoy in Rilsk city of Kursk was ambushed. Belgrade Oblast, 29 of the drones were spotted in the skies, ground kabooms reported. Crimea, just told you about it. Rostov Oblast, the Ukrainian drones were spotted. The Russian air defense was in operation. Guys, it's just a single night. And here we are not talking even about the ground operation of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region of Russia. And you know what, guys? It seems like it's the first intervention of some sort of the foreign army to original Russian territory since the Second World War. So this event is really outstanding. And what is most important, that it's been supported by our allies in the United States and Europe. They don't see it as the escalation, but definitely it is. I think this operation was coordinated with them, with our allies. So at least some part of the Russian society would feel the special military operation on their skin. And many of the local citizens already complained. They complained to Putin that they had to leave their homes. They're in trouble. They don't know where to live, where to sleep. Many of them weren't able to take funds with them from their homes or some sort of the precious thing or even the normal clothes. So they went mostly to Kursk, and there they don't know what to do. They ask Putin, help, because we supported your special military operation. Yes, they say it like that. We supported the special military operation from the very beginning. So Putin, please help us. Well, what can I say? Now the special military operation supports you. Well, you know, Putin listened to them probably, and he decided to give them some of the funds just initially, 10,000 rubles. 10,000 rubles is 100 United States dollars. So Russians who support the special military operation, don't worry, you'll have $100. It will be enough for you to cover all of your needs, so don't worry. And you see, wear those kind of the shirts. I'm not worried, I think, here. You may also make sure I'm not hungry and I love special military operation. Guys, if you think that I'm rude towards the Russian civilians, those in particular, well, actually not. On the full video, which I post on my Telegram channel, they say that we support the special military operation from the very beginning. The special military operation which Putin started in Ukraine, where many of the Ukrainian civilians were just unalived by bloody Putin's regime, then many of the Ukrainian civilians had to leave not just their homes but their country. And here they do complain about something. I call it karma, actually, or revenge, you may call it also. The Russian society should feel the outcome if they do support this Putin's special military operation. Basically, if you support the war might come to your home one day. The new stand-up TikTok comedian and also the commander of Akhmat Battalion says new story about the Ukrainian intervention into the Kursk Oblast and how the Akhmat Battalion did nothing about it. Well, the excuse of this guy, the new excuse, that the Akhmat Battalion soldiers were staying at the positions which Ukrainian army bypassed. So he wants to say that Ukraine by purpose bypassed especially Ahmad militants because they were standing there like some sort of the heavy guards, but why are they not standing there right now? Well, he just can't answer that question. What he says that the situation in Kursk Oblast is not that dramatic, everything is under control. Yes, we see it. In every big event happening, the Ahmad Battalion always digs down its own reputation. Always. Yeah, TikTok soldiers are just funny. Alright, after all, Russia decided to ban the mobile devices for their soldiers, so Putin signed the order that was initiated by the Russian Duma, so the Russian parliament. Now the Russian soldier will be kept in custody for 2 weeks if he is found with his private mobile device. It is just crazy, because the Russian army absolutely needs those devices to communicate between each other. Banning on those devices will just bring more losses to the Russian army, and actually this law is good for Ukraine. I found this news on the Russian Telegram channel, and you may see the reaction of Russians themselves. Most of them just hate or dislike the news because they understand that they'll have severe losses. They absolutely need mobile devices for communication. But the Russian government doesn't understand that. It means that there is different parallel reality in Russia. Russian Z community, the Russian military bloggers, and the Russian elite, Russian managers, Putin, his circle, the Russian parliament, and generals. And the laws which Russia implements actually create the tension between Russian military commanders and the Russian soldiers. The Russian army just kills itself in Ukraine. And according to the latest information, Ukraine started to use helicopters in the Kursk region. Awesome news. One more video from Lipetsk. Here you can see the Ukrainian drone, which is flying to hit something, probably more targets in the Russian military airfield. The French defense ministry said that Ukraine is very successful in the Kursk region. The Russian army was caught off guard, and now probably they will send some of the reinforcements from the regions of Ukraine. So they are very positive about the event, and also they say that Ukraine continued to hit the airfields of the Russian army and also the energy infrastructure of Russia. So yes, we see it every day. Germany is okay if Ukraine uses their vehicles in Kursk Oblast of Russia. They say that after they transfer the weapon to Ukraine, it is not the German weaponry any longer, it is the Ukrainian weaponry, and they may do everything with it. By the way, many of the modern infantry vehicles were spotted in Kursk. And you know guys, for today there was no advancement of the Russian army in Pokrovsk direction or any sort of the directions. I think that after all, Russian military command is in shock right now. They don't know what to do with Ukrainian advancement in the Kursk region. And you know, around 1 month ago there were tensions near the Belarus border. Remember how Lukashenko announced the military drills and how he sent his reinforcements right to the border with Zhytomyr Oblast. So Ukraine also sent its armed forces close to the border. But later on the tensions calmed down, and Lukashenko officially said that he negotiated with Ukraine to release the tensions at the border. So Ukraine and Belarus withdraw their forces. And Ukraine withdraw their forces probably to Kursk. So actually the negotiations with Belarus probably helped this operation to start. It's the big political game, and I think that Lukashenko knew about this possible step of Ukraine, and also the Russian FSB knew about it. They even reported about the concentration of Ukrainian armed forces close to the border to the Russian military command, but the general commander of the Russian army, Gerasimov, ignored the warning. At least we know this information from other sources, most from the mainstream media like Politica, Financial Times, and so on. And there are also reports that Ukraine concentrates its forces to strike the Belgorod Oblast. The information is mostly coming from the Russian sources, Russian Z channels. They rely on the data coming from the Russian surveillance. Well, we'll see how it goes. So far, the operation in Kursk goes according to plan, unlike the Russian special military operation. And now, my friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video, and also please check out my personal link where you may get this card holder Pro from Exter. I really enjoy it, and it's the awesome product. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.